the chairman of General Sports and Entertainment and the founder, owner, and CEO of the United Shore Professional Baseball League. Andy Appleby joins us now on the Oakland County MegaCast. Andy, thank you for being with us today.
It's a pleasure.
So how are you? How's your team been doing?
Well, our league consists actually of 4 teams, and we just started the league this past Friday and Saturday. But because of the governor's orders, we were limited to just 100 people in the entire ballpark. So, but we really felt like after several delayed starts that we had to get started. So we have all our players here now in Metro Detroit. We played our first 2 games, and we're going to play 5 games actually this week. So Wednesday to Sunday, and unfortunately still under this 100-person capacity. And then, we're hoping that buys us some time for the governor to get us into phase 5 at least. What we're suggesting to her right now is that if we could just have a 20% capacity at our games, we can make it work, which again is not ideal, particularly for a ballpark like ours that sold out 62 of its 75 games, and we had 5,000 people there for the last game of the year last year, September 8th, 2019. So to have just 1,000 people is really kind of a crying shame, but we'll take it at this point and make it work. So we're hoping that that's a very modest request, particularly in our case because we're all outdoors and beautiful Michigan air. And we have all of our players play in almost their own little bubble, if you will, where we don't have teams coming in and out. We play all our games out of Jimmy John's Field. So I kind of liken our scenario to more like summer stock theater, if you will, where the players are here all summer. And I think we've dramatically reduced the risk of transmissions happening. If a player does test positive, they basically have to go home. So it's the players are doing everything they can not to get in harm's way and not just ruin it for themselves, but ruin it for the league as well. So we've got a lot of issues, but I think we can pull this off. But it starts with just getting a little bit of help from the governor. And so we're working hard to try to get that approval right now as we speak.
Andy, for those that haven't been to the ballpark, it is an amazing location, great for families. Since you are under such a limited capacity right now, how are you doing ticket sales?
Yeah, so we're not even doing ticket sales, Ronnie. We're just basically giving the tickets to the suite holders that have every game, the diamond table holders. So season ticket holders per se really aren't even allowed to be there. And I don't mean that in a way that we wouldn't want them to be there. It's just that we have such a limited capacity. And unfortunately, that 100 people really wasn't set up for a ballpark like ours. I mean, the 100 people edict, if you will, was really set up for like a wedding of 100 people. It wasn't set up to be over the 9 or 10 acre parcel that we are. So you can really shoot a cannon off between people, and so it's unfortunate, this 100-person thing, because we're making more of our partners upset than anything because they can't come. And it's interesting. You hear a lot of people say, oh, they don't want to be in crowds or whatever. And we're not really going to be that way because we're going to have complete social distance, temperature checks, masks. We have 56 hand sanitizer stations. I mean, we're doing everything imaginable to make it safe. But you would not believe how many families call us every week to say, gosh, I need to do something with my kids. And I think what we're trying to impress on the state is that, people are going to get together. Why not have a really regulated environment like ours, where it's full social distancing, full mask, full temperature checks, and really just a 20% capacity. So, I think they're starting to see it our way, but who knows?
Andy Appleby with us. He is the founder, owner, and CEO of the United Shore Professional Baseball League. So you talk about only having a limited number of fans in the stands right now. You're hoping to get that up from 100 to 20% capacity. How does that, as it stands now, and how would it at a 20% capacity change the fan experience from what's usually experienced at Jimmy John's Field?
Well, I think, we don't want to kid ourselves. I mean, it won't be quite as fun. But even at 20%, we can have a pretty decent crowd of about 1,000 people. And that'll give it, much more electricity than just 100 people. It's kind of funny. Even in the worst case scenario of 100 people, it's still really fun. And anybody who came to our games last weekend just absolutely loved it. But again, we didn't have quite the bells and whistles and dance crew and all of those things that, we hope to have here in the not too distant future. It's really become, I think, the finest and most successful minor league park in America. And a lot of that is because we have these great partnerships, and those partnerships allow me to invest so much money in the game presentation, and yet it's still very, very affordable for people. So they kind of get this premium multi-million-dollar game presentation for not a lot of money. In fact, a family of four could come to our games and sit on the lawn for $6 a ticket. They didn't have to pay for parking, and they get really is what is a world-class experience for darn near nothing. And when you think about how much impact we've had on sort of that family dynamic, because I see those people leaving and they're so proud to have been able to give their kids that experience. And again, it didn't cost them an arm and a leg. For the cost of a fantastic evening would be the cost of parking in some places, some sporting events. So, it's really caught fire. And this virus, I mean, it did not come at an opportune time for anyone, but it really came at an inopportune time for us because we had our largest crowd ever by 500 the last game of the year. We had 62 sellouts, and we had such unbelievable momentum going into March when this all happened. And it's sad because, we actually had a few weeks, 5-6 weeks to spare. And we were kind of all hoping that when we flattened the curve, as we did in early April here in Michigan, that, things would have been eased up a little bit. But, it's really unfortunate and sad that we really haven't been able to get back to normal. But in our case, we're not even suggesting to get back to normal. We just want to at least be able to have a 20% capacity, which if anybody looked at that, they would come to the conclusion very quickly that this is super safe. And the other nice thing about us is that we're not like Kroger or some other store where you actually have to go. So older people or people that have comorbidities or are more at risk for this, they actually have to go to Kroger to get food in many cases. In our case, it's strictly volunteer. So people that, have any issues whatsoever, we encourage them not to come if they, don't want to be part of this. But I think the vast majority of people will see that this is the gold standard in safety. They can still have fun. And, for goodness sake, people with young kids, are really looking for something to do right now.
Andy Appleby joining us on the Oakland County Megacast on our family of TV and radio stations, including 89.3 WBLD, Orchard Lake, West Bloomfield, Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, 88.1 WBFH, Bloomfield Hills, and WAHS 89.5 Avondale Community Radio. That is 89.5 WAHS Auburn Hills. So, Andy, going forward, the season continues on in the USPBL, the United Shore Professional Baseball League. It's a different experience than you're going to get at Comerica Park or another a larger stadium in the major leagues. How is this league different than an experience you get at another minor league stadium throughout the country in a smaller market or at a major league stadium?
Well, it's a great question, but what is beautiful about this league and this ballpark is that, it really gave me a chance to use every good idea I've seen or done over my 34 years in sports. And so whatever little ballpark that you've been to, or even big ballpark like Comerica Park, I pretty much took the best out of every one of those areas. So when people come, literally we designed everything possible that was good in stadiums and arenas and ballparks, not just here in America, but also in England, where we owned a premier soccer team for 8 years. So a lot of little ideas that we have were taken from the English experience that we had. So there's not a place like it anywhere really in the country that has all of those modern day amenities and really the best of everything. And then on top of it, as I said before, I really have I think a pretty good feel for, what to invest in and what I think the fans will love. And so the experience that we've created is really something fantastic. And I think the nice thing is, of the 300 games that we've had, anyone who's ever come to a game has great things to say about it. We haven't necessarily captured all of Metro Detroit, but anyone that has come or anyone here that even if they haven't come, they know of someone that says how great it is. And so it's sad that we won't be able to give that kind of performance this year. But as I said, even at a 20% performance or at 20% capacity, we can put on, probably 90% of our show. And so, I still think we can have a great season. We're going to have to really get just a little bit of help from the governor. But if she gives us a little bit of help, we'll have a really good season still.
Beyond just baseball at Jimmy John's Field during the pandemic, other services have been provided as well. Can you go into details on some of the services that your organization has provided over the course of the pandemic, even before baseball returned?
Yeah, so we've done a lot of things with the health departments, and we've done, care packages to all the first responders. We have a standing offer with the first responders that each first responder and their family would have 4 tickets to a game this summer at Jimmy John's Field. We've done work with the Census Bureau in Macomb County, which was essentially giving out free meals, which was one of the reasons that was so popular. And, lots of other little things that we've done and donations that we've made along the way with the first responders. We're very fortunate to have a great group of hospitals as partners of ours. So we've worked with them as well on various first responder projects.
Andy, we've talked a little bit about the fan experience, but talk about the ball players themselves. How are they dealing with this? And your league is a different opportunity for them, and it's an important opportunity. So how are they handling this, and are they worried that this could go away?
They're very worried about it, Ronnie. We're testing them quite a lot right now. And if someone does test positive, they literally just have to get in their car and drive home. It's that simple. We can't really compromise the league from that perspective. And so we have a very tight rein on it. But there've been some other examples in sports, like Brooks Koepka, the famous golfer. His caddy a couple of weeks ago tested positive. He tested negative, but he decided to take himself out of the tournament. And his comment was that, hey, I can't ruin it for the rest of us. We have to be all together here and vigilant about this cause, or it'll just shut down the whole tour. And it's the same thing here. We can't have just one player start spreading the virus. And so it's a big challenge for them. It's certainly kind of lingers into our staff as well. But again, we're taking every safety precaution. Just coming into my office today, we got to take our temperature. And so we wear masks even around the office when we're around people. So we're doing everything we can. We actually created a 224-page COVID protocol program for our ballpark. So, again, we're doing everything we can. But the players, the good news for us amongst all of this is that we have, we're kind of a buyer's market in terms of players. Players really need to find a place to play right now. And so we have just a plethora of great players that want to play with us. In fact, again, there wasn't even a college season because of this pandemic, college baseball season. So we have lots and lots of players. And as is the case with us, they all are, almost like Hollywood actors and actresses. They just want to get noticed. And if we were having this call 4 years ago today, I would have said, hey, my goal for the baseball side is if we can have one or two of our players signed by major league teams, I'll be happy. And I'm really proud to say that after just four seasons of baseball, we've had 37 of our players signed by major league baseball teams. And one of them made it all the way to the Twins and is a pitcher in their starting rotation. And, he would say, just as a lot of our players would say, is, they probably wouldn't even be in baseball today if not for the advent of this league. So it's really special how we've changed the lives of a lot of people, and the economic and social impact we've made in this community is really special. I mean, I've never seen a project fit so well with the old saying, to do well and do good at the same time. This is what this is all about. It gave me a chance personally also to give back to this community that I've had some success in over the last 34 years. And it's just all positive, which is pretty wonderful. And I really miss the interaction because, we talk about how people don't want to shake hands anymore. I literally shook 800,000 people's hands over the last 4 years. And, so it's sad for me because I don't think I even got a cold over that time period. And I still want to shake hands, but not many other people do.
Andy, anything else you'd like to say before we let you go?
No, but appreciate your time today. Appreciate having me on my show. And thanks so much.
We appreciate having you as well. Thank you. Andy Appleby, the chairperson of General Sports and the founder, owner, and CEO of the United Shore Professional Baseball League, with us on the Oakland County MegaCast.